when Sophia asked me to have this opening talk, I thought that it's not would be only welcome talk, but I would like to share my view on service learning and even wider perspective of service learning. I'm waiting for slides. Hopefully they will be just here right now. If not, I'll start with a question that I prepared to you. If we think about university in wartime, as we currently have here in Ukraine, what is the first word you think about? What comes up to you as a first word? Any ideas? Any words this morning? Sophia, I know you know.
Well, for me, it's morning routine to go to work.
Then I go to our rector. What's the word associated with university in wartime? Hope. Yeah, we talk a lot about hope in this university and in the country. Up. Yes. Hub. Resilience. Sustainability. People. Yeah, so I'll surprise you when I think about university in wartime. I think about laboratory. Because within these extremely fast changes, we have in our society, extremely fast changes we have in technologies, but also extremely fast changes we have in keeping our resilience. We need to think about this fact and to think that we can learn from this. We can experiment for better learning and for better outcomes for the future society. Indeed, just when war started, full-scale invasion started, our civic society, our communities, they show their resilience. They even be cut from the center, probably because the law on decentralization we had passed a few years before full-scale invasion, we were more reliable on local communities. And these are data, these are knowledge that we can reflect and we can share to the world. So therefore, for me, service learning is not only about pedagogy, but even more. Another important thing that we face now is roles of AI. And for our students, this might be a problem. This is a problem. Because it's very easy just to click to get the answer. And there is a big temptation, you know, to click. We always see such kind of picture on any conference. So here, this picture, I put it just to show how our service learning, something real, can work with something artificial as AI. Because if we combine this, we can have something great. But before showing this, I also want to say that in order to learn, there is a citation actually, and the great paper I would recommend you to look at by Brown, Rodiger, and McDaniel. They say that indeed, in order to learn, we require to have efforts, to struggle, as we say here, to have difficulty, and have real application. Isn't this about service learning? Yeah. And indeed, we should apply this high impact pedagogy in order for students to learn and to use AI in proper way. So now, if we combine digital access with service learning and real application, we have the result we want. And for Ukraine, it's not only a possibility, it's a necessity, because we need to move quickly. we need to move 1 step or 10 step or 10,000 steps ahead of our enemy, and therefore we do this as much as we can. We also, here at the Ukrainian Catholic University, did another step ahead. We turned not only, we look at service learning not only as a practice, but as a research possibility. And the questions that we have here on resilience, on other questions that our wartime raised in our societies can be researched by using service learning methodology. And indeed, we have great results on that as well. The publication by our colleague Valentina Zasatko and her co-authors were published in Stanford Social Innovation Review. It's about Ukraine efforts and using community service. I want to praise the team of UKU Fellows for the Best Paper Award in the recent paper on See Us, an urgent call to collaborate with colleagues in this environment around the world. Indeed, this year it was awarded Best Paper Award in category of point of departure by teaching in higher education. So these steps show us that indeed we form a kind of research group that can teach or can show the world results that will last for many years after, I hope, the war will finish. And this conference and this project also produced a volume. I'm really happy that many talks here will be presented are included in the volume that is a result of this project and this conference. So I congratulate all authors for their research, their case studies in this volume. Thank you very much. But again, this is not the last step. Because after practice, after research, we have even more. Because working with students and just putting them into this environment of social engagement, of community service, we attach them to those communities. And by attaching them to those communities, they change their mind. They are less inclined to migrate. They are more inclined to stay here and to rebuild Ukraine. And for us, this is again a very long-lasting consequences of this project. Thank you, everybody who participated in this project. Thank all our partners for being with us. And my final slide is about next steps. So at UKU, we already thought about this, and one concrete final next step for us is to go to schools. We think that indeed service learning should not be limited to universities only. We think that our schools and pupils, they are old enough to do service learning as well. So, and we would like to try, and we already had some pilots, to go to schools to teach school teachers how to use this methodology, to ask our students to go to schools and collaborate with pupils, and to have these great results not only for those who have their 20s years, but those who are teenagers. So hopefully we can think about this as a next step for our joint project. Thank you very much for coming, and I also would like to thank our UKU team, led by Sophia, also Oleg Pasko, over here, Hristia, also Ivan Chidlovsky, Lina Polechata, Anastasia. I would like also to thank those members who started this project, Olya Matijchuk, Olya Kuchar, yeah. And thank everybody for this great project that we indeed may embed it in our education, and this is something that we will taste for future years. Thank you very much, and good luck with the conference.
Thank you very much, Yaroslav. We would not start this project without National Erasmus Plus office, and we have online the leader of our national office, Svitlana. Can we have Svitlana online? Yeah, I know I have to give a minute to our team. Yeah, so please, the floor is yours. Ми не чуємо. Світлано?
Can you hear me? I can hear
Ні,
you
ми не
very
чуємо
well.
вас. Вибачте.
Can you hear me online,
Такий довгий
participants?
ланцюжок там передається, знаєте. Воно потім якось біжить.
Okay.
Не знаю, по оптоволокну чи куди.
I don't know.
О, чуємо вас.
Okay, great. So first of all, congratulations to all team, and thanks a lot for your hard work done during all these years, but also from the idea started many years ago. I remember this very first day when we start this consultation on the preparation of this project, but I appreciate Yaroslav that he mentioned the next steps, and here they are absolutely resonates with what we do, the focus in the last years to cooperate closely with schools. And I absolutely support that we need to go to schools and to start from schools in all the key priorities which we really are working on at the higher education. And I already really look forward to work on the new proposal for the Key Action 220, which is called Cooperation Partnership for Schools, where I'm sure these results and outcomes of the current project would be absolutely in line. And just if you ask me what ServU for me, and actually for our team and for all Erasmus community, I would formulate it as the strong contribution to the development of the culture of the civic engagement, and the culture of civic engagement through the service learning. And I'm sure that through all these years, you have found key formulas for each of the universities, but also for your communities on how to work closely on the transformation of our higher education, but also how to serve the community better. And as actually in terms of all the cohesion policy of European Union, as well as the latest research or the papers they done in terms of the third missions of universities, in terms of the service learning, the important thing is that the universities has become not only the alliances or grouped into alliances, as also we have good examples in Ukraine and your participation in different European alliances, but it has become the center of excellence that serves community better. And in all this way, that's the projects and the project team has been working together. It shows the strong, not only solidarity, but strong interaction and cooperation among Ukrainian universities and among the societies or communities you have been serving, and you would continue to do it after the end of the project, I'm sure. Thus, we really appreciate all our partners from EU member states and those who joined this project in sharing the best practices and developing the new knowledge, developing the new learning for the students who have become the valuable servants to the society after the graduation of the university. And that's the most important thing, that's to become, first of all, the human and then the professional. And I'm sure that and I'm positive about the fact that really this project teach or even like teach via engagement on all these values. I also would like to thank each and every Ukrainian partner who has passed through all these challenges, but remain resilient and did a lot of transformations within your universities, which again serve to our students and to the society. And that's actually a fantastic teamwork, which has been continuing, of course, after the end of the project. And thus, we hope that there would be the possibility also to meet together with all our international partners in Ukraine after our victory, and also to continue our stronger work together back to back. Thanks again to all of you, and warmest congratulations and regards and wishes from the European Commission, from EACA, from the EU delegation to Ukraine, and all our National Erasmus Plus team, to all of you, and with the hope that there would be a new step and a synergy for the new projects, new cooperation, and even with the stronger impact for all society and for all fields of education. Thanks again to all of you, and Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава! Thank you so much, Svitlana. Well, two things I would like to say. Well, first of all, we truly appreciate your support through all the process. Second, yesterday we went with a team of our partners to Unbroken, and guess what? Which sign was it in Unbroken Hospital? It was Erasmus Plus sign. So we made a picture with Erasmus Plus. So you're reaching out much further than you can expect. So thank you very much for your support and for your word. And now I would like to take you a little bit through the journey which we had and share with you what results we see from the project. Then I will talk a bit about the agenda for today, and then we will start discussing more precise topics. Now I have to be patient to wait for my slides. See, that's one of the training of patience. By the way, it's all School of Journalism who is supporting us today. And they are also supporting this through streaming online. And we have, I think we had more than 100 people registered online from different places. So there should be pretty good, big group of participants watching it. Yes, it's a global thing. Well, I can start though. Well, anyway, so a little bit about the journey which actually took place since 2022. I think every conference which I attend in Ukraine, it does not matter what topic is about. Is it business? Is it education? Is it political? Is it reforms or political changes? Every conference starts with some reflections of 2022. I believe all of us have, have some trauma from that time, and we are still reflecting on that trauma. So for me, one of the most traumatizing images of those days were images of destroyed Karazin University in Kharkiv. I think you remember, I'm sure you remember those images. I had them on slides, but maybe that's good that you have to imagine how they were, because I'm sure they are somewhere with you. So those images, they stayed with me for a very long time, and in autumn of 2022, I realized how privileged we are at UCU that we could run classes in the classroom. Though with air raids, though we come to shelter. Okay, it's there, thank you. Yeah, that's the, those are images from spring 2022 of our colleagues in Kharkiv. As I said, in autumn, I really thought how privileged we are. And at that time, we started to reflect And we came to the conclusion at UKU that it's really nice to focus on quick humanitarian projects, which we have been doing, but as for the university, we can do more. That our focus should be on long-term transformational projects. And it should be on, we should move beyond episodic project-based activities to a systematic integration of community-engaged learning. We saw a shift in logic. While in normal times, learning typically enhances service in times of crisis, the urgent need for social help becomes the primary driver of learning and education. So what is ServU? 3 Ukrainian and 3 European universities formed the project in December 2022. We started to write the application, which is huge, to address the challenges of ruthless reality and to enhance synergy between higher education institutions and communities. And we are very glad that we had wonderful partners in communities who were open to our ideas, who were open to ideas of our students, and who became real partners for us. Allow me to remind you that service learning occurs when there is a balance between learning goals and service outcomes. Each enhances the other for all participants. So we applied for the grant and did win it in August of 2023. And I would like to reflect a little bit on our journey, not through the numbers, not through the deliverables, but because you can find all of them on our ServU website, which has a lot of those materials and which will become like a platform for such materials. But I would like to talk a little bit about our joint experience. So first of all, what we learned, that service learning transforms students from passive consumers of knowledge into active agents of change. And they can produce immediate value for communities. By the way, many of those points, they are from this book of abstracts, which is final point in our project. Second, that for students living under constant threat, service learning acts as a form of educational therapy, converting chronic anxiety and trauma into proactive civic agency. Well, Yaroslav asked what is university for me, and I said it's a morning routine. Yes, it's a morning routine means a lot now for all of us. So when you have some defined things in your life now, it's very important. And I think it can be a good defined moment for our students as well, though they can still practice a lot of creativity in service learning. Guided reflection, it's a core component of service learning, helps students develop the informed judgment necessary to navigate the absurdity of war. The head of Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, Patriarch Sviatoslav, recently at one of the discussions said about war that's absurdity, yes, and this is what we are living through. Students see the immediate usefulness of their degrees when business strategy or psychology workshops provide real support to veterans, displaced people, and people in need. What we did in the project is that we had a focus on diagnosis of the communities, and there are guidelines how to do it. We had focused on capacity building, and it's not only about training our team from 3 universities of about 30 educators, but it's also about open online course on which we actually have 921 persons from 39 countries participating. I don't know how many finished the course, probably not everyone, but if you are still there, I encourage you to finish it. But it's a huge scope, I would say. We had courses in the phase of implementation, and we have this reflection part, and most of reflection, I think, was done through the papers into our book of abstracts. There are usually there is a journey of partners in any project, and we know that sometimes it's nice to have partners, but it's not so easy to have partners. I mean, we know it in marriage even, you know, it's not so easy to do that. So when you even don't have kids and don't have family registered, you know, why should you partner? So I think we learned some things, and again, I'm supporting by some of the quotes of my colleagues from the papers. And one of them says, resilience in higher education emerges not merely through institutional continuity, but through reciprocal relationship among students, teachers, communities, and international partners. So I will come back to international partners, but it's a journey for students and faculty members who get together much closer than they usually get in the traditional classroom. So it's about horizontal model of equal relations. It's about courses are not designed based on academic interests alone, but originate from the needs of the community. And you have to be attentive to the needs of the community, and you have to learn how to listen. Unlike traditional volunteering, which I'm sure we practice a lot right now, service learning projects aim to produce great deliverables, which are also kind of consulting very often for the communities. And it's also another opportunity for community to have capacity building. And we know, you will hear today in the second part of the day about projects which became real consulting for the communities. It's about relational resilience. Resilience in this context is not just institutional continuity, it is a relational accomplishment built through ties of care and responsibility between university and community, between faculty member and students. Well, I also, you can see a couple of pictures from the training, from visiting community. But I also wanted to bring the perspective of our European partners, because they played a very important role in this project. And some of them say that they have been methodologically providing methodological accompaniment for in the project. They have been not doing things for us, but they have been supporting. It's about pairs and tandems between Ukrainian faculty members and our European partners, and somehow it was very simple solution, but it turned out to be big innovation, I assume, because now we, at a lot of conferences, people approach us and say, how did you do it? And that's actually a very easy thing, you know, very logical thing for many of us, but somehow we don't do it enough, it looks like. And it's about learning two ways. It looks like that our European institutions gain unique insights into crisis management and institutional resilience from Ukrainian partners. And I would like to show you 3 quotes. And well, our colleagues are writing that LUMSA, that's Italian partner, contribution as well as contribution offered by KU Leuven and Catholic University Eichstätt-Ingolstadt is best understood as this methodological accompaniment, helping translate local needs into academically meaningful pedagogies, preserving the mutuality of service and learning, and supporting a reflective process capable of sustaining the ethical quality of engagement. And the other quote, the Ukrainian experience generated insights that enrich the project comparative frameworks about urgency, about community needs as a curriculum driver, about institutional identity as an enabling condition. And that's from our colleague from KU Leuven. Well, we have outcomes, obviously. We have outcomes for students, we have outcomes for community, and we have outcomes for institutions. And I think I will focus on the institutional one, because that's probably the most important pillar how to take the project further on, is that service learning transitioned from an additive extracurricular activity to an embedded structural component of university's mission. And I hope it happened not just for us as one of the partners, but also for other Ukrainian institutions who participated in the project. Well, in the end, I would like to put questions, actually, because the question is how it's obvious that it is connected to third mission. Svitlana mentioned about that. Yaroslav was mentioning about different missions of the university. There is obviously third mission, which we repeat constantly, that's our journey. That's the highway for the universities to have third mission. And I quote here my colleague and partner in the upstairs office, Dmytro Sherenhovsky. Yes, but there are questions. How can we do it? How do we provide long-term impact? Yes, we link everything, but how do we make universities as anchors of resilience, not just because it happened and because this is where we are, but how do we make the concept of this anchor of resilience and making sure that building back better really happens in this country? How do we institutionalize service learning? Because as my colleague Oleg Pasko mentioned in his paper, it moves from the mindset to budgeted methodology embedded in the core architecture of the university. So how do we do it when the resources are limited? And how do we scale? And that's what Yaroslav mentioned. Do we go to schools? Do we go to other universities? Do we go to other countries? Because we had this situation that we have been asked for permission to translate one of the book of guidelines into French by our colleagues from Congo, for example. So how do we do all of that? Well, this is what we're going to talk about today. I think the conference will have a variety of topics. We will have very tough agenda. I will come back to agenda in a minute, but while my colleagues are opening the agenda, I would like to call to the stage a couple of people who were with us on this journey. There were a lot of people on this journey, but each institution had a representative. So I would like to call here project leader from Sumy, Alla Krasulia. I would like to call Mykola Tregub from Dnipro, Oля Mikhailishin from Eichstätt-Ingolstadt, and Katya Reinders from KU Leuven, Mariia Chinketa from LUMSA. She is online. Yes, just come here and people, please give them huge applause. You don't have to say anything right now. You will be participating in different panels, but I just wanted to see so that you see those people, because somebody always have to move the project. Somebody has to move the project within organization. So those people were moving project in 6 organizations, and thank you so much for doing that. Thank you. Now I would like to come back to agenda and give me some sign if it will be opened, if it can be opened. Actually, you all are in easy position because you all have QR codes, and through QR codes you can access agenda, and that was more to show the link for our participants online. But anyway, in the morning, we will talk about pedagogy itself. How can we use it? How can we use it for different audiences? What did we learn from the cases which were part of the project or not part of the project? So now actually we're going beyond the project. So that's the morning. There will be no coffee break. Can you imagine? We actually forgot it. I mean, we did not forget it. We just didn't, we could not squeeze it. So, but the cheesecake and coffee is upstairs. So whenever you feel like getting coffee or going to the washroom, please feel free. It's a free country, free society. Feel free. It's totally fine. In the afternoon, then there will be time for lunch, and we will also have very short tour to our church. It has beautiful mosaics. If somebody have not been to our campus, we can show you around campus as well. We never know who is for this first time, who is not, so just let us know. And in the afternoon, we will have panel discussions. So in the morning, more presentations, in the afternoon, panel discussions. The first panel discussion will be in Ukrainian. So morning sessions are in English. In the afternoon, the first panel discussion will be about interaction of universities and communities in Ukrainian. All those who need English translation will need to change the channel. There is an option, and you can hear the translation into English. This is mostly to our friends online, and you can also, zoom in and get into Zoom and listen to that. Then there will be panel about it's like how do we take our project internationally further. This will be a panel discussion led by our colleague from International Department, and we will have wonderful panelists there. And then in the end, we will have panel discussion with 2 rectors of our universities who participated in the project, and we will talk obviously about people, money and people, and how to make it all happen. I'm scaring both of them because they're sitting in the first row so that they can prepare. Yes, well, this is a little bit joking, but all jokes have a little bit of truth also. And in between, we will have a couple of video keynote speakers. Those are wonderful people. They actually would love to jump in online with us, but since it's a huge time difference and we didn't want to create too much stress and interference with their schedules, we decided to pre-record the what they would like to say to us. Well, this is it. I think I made it on time. You see? Then, Christia, I can pass the mic to you, and I gave you 5 extra minutes.
Thank you. You gave me time. Hello, Slava Isusu Christu. Greetings, everyone. I think that we need to change the settings, because I would love to invite people who will take part in this, who will present their research. And so I would ask my colleagues to help me, and I think those people also knew who should come and join me on the first row or on the stage. So the next session is about adapting service learning methodology for wartime and recovery. So I'm just giving heads up to the technical teams that the first one will be Oksana Stefiuk. Yeah, so please look for the presentation, because someone said that she has how many slides again? A lot of pictures. So Oksana, please join me on stage. And so since this session is specifically dedicated to the methodological aspect of service learning today, we will try to go beyond a simple description of practical cases. So we'll try to also share how we adapt all of this methodology to our context. So when we started planning the conference, Sophia Opatska asked me, what do you want from this conference? And I said, I want methodology. So here we are, and that's why we have this this panel. So I will also emphasize that we will have 2 online presentations. So maybe there will be some stops during our talks, but I will try to go smoothly and maybe invite you also to ask questions to our panelists who will be sitting here. So I believe that we have someone else, not online, but alive here with us. So please join Oksana for our talk. Yevgen, I believe, yes? Where are you? Maybe you'll join, so we will have our team who will work on the methodological aspects. I just wanted to make sure that I am not losing anyone from my section. lots of papers. 2 languages. And Mariia Tytarenko, obviously. Sorry. Mariia, please join us. Okay, so now I'm put together. Yeah, so today we have a unique interdisciplinary palette of presentation, proving that service learning is a universal didactic approach. We will examine a 4-stage methodological cycle of implementing mental health initiatives in the rural communities from UKU Department of Clinical Psychology. We will have we'll go deeply in integrational of service learning into the syllabi of 3 different special designed courses for trained media professionals and journalists at UKU from Mariia. We will have a theoretical methodological framework of relational resilience based on the shared supervisory experience of ServU project from LUMSA team. We will have a specific and very interesting didactic limitations of limitation and challenges of service learning in STEM education on the example of developing sustainable energy and climate action plans by students and team from Dnipro University of Technology. And finally, last but not least, yes, we will have a comparative methodological analysis of designing service learning courses in business education in Ukraine and Germany. So that for the first, this very deep panel, and I will ask to open for us this presentation about learning by service, a mental health day initiative in the Ukrainian rural, rare, small communities. Go for easier words, please. And we will, I will just wanted to make one step back, that we have this book of abstract that Sophia already mentioned. They're over there. It's also online. So we ask our colleagues not to go very deep, but just present the creme de la creme, because we have limitation of time. So I will try to, and I will ask you to be on schedule, that we will have some place for discussion and questions, and maybe it's more comment than a question is also welcome. So Oksana, I will give the word to you.
Okay, greetings everyone. I'm very pleased to be here, and on behalf of my group and my co-authors, I would like to present to you our project, Learning by Serving, a Mental Health Day initiative in Ukrainian rural community. So it all started, a part of clinical master's degree program on clinical psychology. We were supposed to undergo the clinical practice, which was also scientific and practical. And we had to choose one of the topics, and organizing a mental health day was something unique, not a traditional way to perform this practice. So probably why we chose it, maybe because most of us pictured something like this, a cheerful day, full of balloons, smiling kids, and ice cream. And so just as in any other practice, we established the relevance of our topic, we performed the systematic review, we defined our research topic and goal, and all the way from the start, our partners in crime were Professor Alexander Avramchuk, Kristina Oblachinska-Shabazova, ServU partners, and Department of Clinical Psychology. So in order to assess really the true community needs, we decided to go directly into the community and speak individually with representatives of different fields. And what we heard there, quite different from what was expressed during general Zoom calls. So we documented the requests from the community, and funny thing that one of that was to take a lot of photos so they can be posted on different social medias and perhaps somehow gain more money for better roads. So lesson number 1 that we gained was do the field search. Afterwards we met, we we discussed the requests, and we also analyzed our expertise and experience and what each of us can give to this project, and we came up with a number of the activities. We also selected the categories for the research and for the activities based on what we are told during that field trip. And all that ended up in this very nice and smooth schedule of the events, most of which were supposed to be conducted simultaneously. Yet, 2 days before the event, at first we got a message from school saying that due to the Russian missile attack, there were disruptions in heating and electricity, so the school classes cut short, and the school bus will have to leave at least 4 hours earlier than planned. And shortly after, we received a phone call from the hospital saying that being a Friday, you know, doctors are overloaded with paperwork and they have to meet their kids who will finish the school much earlier. So perhaps most of them will not be able to attend the activities. And on top of that, the weather changed dramatically. And if you wonder why you see the goats in my presentation, that's because Kozova means the town of goats. So, and actually there really were a lot of goats. So lesson number 2 was stay calm, be flexible, and always have a plan B. And you can see here it's our young team ready to face any difficulties and whatever comes ahead of us. Fortunately, we actually were able to perform all of the activities. So first of those were community roundtable on mental health issues. Then there were various school activities. And you can see that just only in school, we covered 230 children and almost 50 school personnel. And here we also had another complication, as before the activities we discussed with school representatives that we should work according to the Ukrainian law, and there will be no problems with service, as high schoolers can perform certain service without necessary informed consent from their parents. But then on the day of the mental health date, we got another phone call from one of the school psychologists saying that they are actually worried about possible complaints from the parents. And so we were able to survey only the kids from the junior and senior classes. And so here comes our lesson number 3, always say yes to informed consent. Then we also had a sports fair. We had trainings for school and hospital personnel on professional burnout, and that was a topic that they wanted to have. And we also had activities for veterans. And on the note of that, we also were told in Kozova Hospital that do not work directly with veterans because they are so unwilling to cooperate, and because we have so much stuff to propose to them, but they just never come to our art classes. So we actually thought, okay, maybe there is some other way to do something differently, and we contacted people who constantly work with veterans, asked for their advice, and came up with robototechnics workshop, which actually went great and exceeded all our expectations. And here comes lesson number 4, explore options beyond the current approach. And then we closed up the day with some evening activities. And you might think that that is the end, but no, because here comes the scientific part. And you know, having so many observational studies during the day, and then all these data from the survey, we just gained so much data to analyze that we simply couldn't really process it easily. So lesson number 5, be careful with too much data. You know, not always a lot of data is a good thing. Is this the end? No, because we've decided, we knew about this upcoming conference, we decided, you know, to submit to it, and we wanted to analyze the students' reflection on this particular type of practice. What lessons did they gain from it, and was it really better than the typical one? So you can see that the first question, are you satisfied that you chose this particular practice? From 100% of those who were actually engaged answered yes. And then the practical component of the practice was really highly rated, while the scientific got a bit other results, which is for us understandable, because when you're so engaged into practical cooperation with people, you know, in fields, a scientific framework kind of comes secondary at the moment. And what do you think, how useful was the project for the community? You can see that it was highly rated, that we really believe that what we've done and what we performed really matters. So what about the skills that we gained? So that was the top skills: communication, stress resistance, and you can see at the end data collection and analysis. Did the experience gained during your internship influence your attitude towards your future work as a psychologist? And you can see that 70% answered yes, and this is a meaningful result for us, which probably needs some rethinking what other practices should be performed for future students. And would you choose this option of scientific and practical practice a second time? And no one said no, so 30% uncertain and 70% yes. And now this is the end. And thank you so much for this conference. Thank you for this project. And you know, in Ukrainian Scouting, we have this phrase, be a spark if you want to witness the fire. And so rephrasing and thinking of the experience we gained during this practice, that would be a part of a small change if you want to witness a greater one. So thank you one more time.
Okay, it's working. So I will ask you to stay tall, and we will wait for the questions if there is any. If not, I am prepared. I have a lot. But I just wanted to emphasize that this case is showing us two things. First, it's master students. So it's really, it depends with whom you do service learning. It doesn't matter in a way that everyone could do it, but the deliverables, results, you have to understand that it will be different approaches and results, etc. And another thing is that this case perfectly demonstrates how engaging students and addressing the real community needs from school children to veteran helps reduce the stigma, yeah, of this psychology, mental help, and you showed how differently it could work. So because it's the methodological space, I will ask you the question about this diagnosis, because we did have the report from the community, and we were working already in ServU project with the first stage of analysis has been done before us, but you did the next step, and you did it also for yourself. And you, Alexander said to me that it was your initiative, that even before we planned to go to the community, said we have the schedule, we have to go there beforehand, and we should go there by ourselves. So students visit the community to interview the representatives regarding the preferences and needs, and you showed us exactly, but have you been thinking about that you are dealing with this methodology and service learning methodology, or now when you are reflecting on it, how it actually helps you to understand that you did everything right and according to this methodology? So especially when we work with sensitive topics and sensitive groups of people, so how ethical integrity and this psychological safety, so how this diagnosis phase help you? Does it help?
Yes, thank you. Great question, and a really long one. So yes, when we've just started this project, we thought of that participatory approach from the very beginning. And that's why we actually performed that field search, because you know, when on the Zoom meeting there sits like the leader of the community, and then some, you know, someone who is underneath him, they really cannot say directly what problems do they have, especially concerning the mental health. So when we came there and sat in separate room with each one, really, we had like around 7, maybe a conversation like that. We really felt what the problems were. And then, yes, through all of the practice, that approach a bit viewed. But if at the very beginning, we mostly were focused about stigma of mental health, by the end, we came up also what is the function of clinical psychologists and of any psychologist in the community. What awareness do the kids and adults have towards mental health issues? So by the end of our practice, we actually came up with many more problems to solve and many more issues to investigate.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So let me know if there are any comments, questions. Okay, good to have you in the audience.
I love the goats on your slides, but what was the reason for you to choose Kosovo as a location? Did you have a kind of competition for different locations, for different schools? So what was the reason?
Honestly, for us as master degree students, we did not have any options. So those such as a community that was already working with Ukrainian Catholic University, and they wanted to be engaged, and actually their settlement leaders were really ready to do something in their community. So that just was the proposal.
We were lucky to have the
They are
community.
partners.
I saw the Pan Roman from Kosovo community. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, that's actually Pan Roman. Yeah. Thank you so much, because Pan Roman was actually the one really engaged with everything. And you know, during the evening activities, he came and joined us. And I think that was really important for other, you know, town members to see that it's not only for, that it concerns everyone, you know, those activities that were held. And if I still have 1 minute, because I do
1
have
minute,
it.
just 1 minute.
Christy, can you please put on the video? It's only 40 seconds long.
Just also will say that we will go to Mariia, and after that we will have online talk. So.
Вам сподобалось?
Thank you so much for these insights. And I'm really glad that we had also the student's perspective on this, and we start from students' perspective, because in service learning, students are the protagonist and they rule the course, even though obviously we need teachers who are willing and partners who are willing as well to have this win-win course and collaboration. So I invite, and we continue with the theme of recovery, but we move on to the media and communication tools. And this next talk will illustrate the methodology of end-to-end integration of service learning into the curriculum of an entire program, and synergy between courses. And Otec Shestak is also responsible for this, that we are thinking not only just different initiatives, but be thinking about the system. So I invite my colleague Mariia Tytarenko, and she will share and tell us a little bit about recovery-oriented education case of service learning in the training of media professionals and journalists. The floor is yours.
Okay. If I knew that I could take informal style for my speech, I would definitely approach it. But I've got more formal style, and as a representative of 3 different cases from my colleagues, I would stick to my paper. So today I will speak about recovery-oriented educational cases of service learning in the training of media professionals and journalists. At the School of Journalism and Communication at the Ukrainian Catholic University, our program are built on practice-oriented education, and service learning is a core part of the approach. It allows students to combine professional training with work on socially important topics, and at the same time to contribute to real community needs through media production. We implement this approach through several master's courses. Today I will focus on 3 of them. Creative writing, that is my course. Cultural journalism, conducted by our professor Emilia Ohar, and video formats conducted by our professor Victoria Babanko. Each of these courses is built on real collaboration with media and communities. So the first case. The creative writing course focuses on textual storytelling. Within this course, students create memorial reportages and feature stories. They work with topics such as people killed on the front line or in the captivity, veterans' recovery, and post-traumatic growth. Students produce feature stories, essays, and narrative reportages. The key emphasis is not only on writing, but on ethical and trauma-informed storytelling. Students learn how to document testimonies responsibly, how to avoid simplification and generalization, how to preserve the individuality of each story. An important part of the process is collaboration with stakeholders. Students receive feedback from editors of national media, human rights advocates, psychologists, and the protagonists themselves. For example, human rights advocate Max Butkevich emphasizes the importance of restoring the human dimension of the war. He reminds students that every story of captivity or death is a complete world and cannot be reduced to statistics. Editor-in-chief of the Ukrainian Week, that is our main partner, Margarita Dekaluk, highlights that students' texts connect personal narratives with broader issues of rehabilitation and reintegration. Psychologist from the Superhumans, Krystyna Topolnytska, stresses the importance of these stories as spaces for reflecting on post-traumatic growth. A crucial outcome of this course is publication. Student texts appear in the Ukrainian Week, Український тиждень, Новинарня, Лівий берег, Censor Media, Заборона, Memorial and Requiem platforms. These texts circulate widely, receive audience feedback, and become part of public conversation. So the second case, the cultural journalism course, focuses on culture as a space of recovery. It is implemented in partnership with the local media outlet Lvivska Poshta. The central theme of the course is Culture for Veterans, from Recovery to Self-Expression. Students create a series of multi-genre materials united by the topic. They cover cultural events, artistic initiatives, community-based practices of recovery, etc. For example, students work with the Festival of First-Year Playwrights, initiatives of the Theatre of the Unbroken as a part of the art therapy project with the Unbroken ecosystem. They also write reviews of performances including plays created by veterans and productions involving veterans. They conduct interviews, tell personal stories, and make these experiences visible to a wider audience. Students also engage with the Lviv Regional Philharmonic, the Lviv Organ Hall, the Music and Art Space Homing Center, the publishing house Mariia, founded by veteran Andriy Kaspshishak, and the All-Ukrainian Forum of Military Writers, and more. They cover initiatives such as the All-Ukrainian Forum of Military Writers, the project Culture as a Rehabilitation Tool. Through this work, students not only gain experience in cultural journalism, they also develop empathy, attentiveness, the ability to work with sensitive topics. This course helps students see culture not only as a representation, but also as a tool of recovery and integration. And the third case, the video format course focuses on visual storytelling. It is implemented in collaboration with professional media partners, among them the Ukrainian Week and Suspilne as a public broadcaster. This is already the third year of joint projects combining education and real production. Students work in formats such as interviews, travel shows, and video story series. They collaborate with professionals including editors, producers, journalists from partner media, and by the way, such as Maxim Voloshin, production producer of the Western Hub at Suspilne and at Suspilne Lviv, as well as with a leading correspondent of Suspilne Lviv, Ivanka Dusko, and also Olga Vorozhby, the deputy editor-in-chief of the Ukrainian Week, Український тиждень. At Suspilne, students practice in studio production, live broadcasting, mentoring sessions. Students take on real roles of editors, producers, coordinators, members of production teams. They search for protagonists, film, edit, build narrative structures. Their projects focus on cultural heritage, local communities, everyday life during wartime, and they explore questions such as, what does it mean to be Ukrainian today? So the key results across all cases. Despite different formats, all three cases share important outcomes. First, they are valuable for the protagonists. Media content becomes recognition, preservation of memory, restoration of dignity. Second, media content here has multiple functions. It is not only informational, it is also therapeutic, memorial, socially transformative. Third, the impact on students is significant. Students develop responsibility, understand their role in society. Their work enters real media space, provokes reactions, creates empathy, becomes part of public dialogue. These projects often go beyond the courses. To conclude, service learning transforms journalism education into a tool of recovery. It creates connection, engagement, shared meaning. Students become active participants, as Sophia Opatska said, agents of change. I love that formulation. Contributors to community life. These practices allow education to support both individual development and collective recovery. Thus, students' activity evolves from being community-oriented to becoming socially significant. The initiated projects do not end with the framework of the course. They often develop into practical and research-based master theses. For some students, they become the foundation of a professional career, determining the topics they continue to work on and shaping them as authors within public discourse. In this way, the described projects of the School of Journalism and Communication contribute to, I'm quoting Amy Conworthy from Sia's article, shaping our educational spaces to provide connection, engagement, knowledge, and care, enabling students and community members to come together to support each other, end quote. Though through them, education is transformed into an important instrument of recovery, and students became active and motivated actors in this process. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mariia, and your co-authors, Victoria and Emilia. So I am giving the heads up for our next speaker, Dr. Ioana. So she is online and she knew that she is next, but I will ask our technical team, already had her on the screen, that she will be prepared to share the presentation in a minute, but I will open the floor also for questions for Mariia. So is there any? If not, I have a question, because you're working with a very sensitive topic and this trauma-informed approach, and I am thinking that this focus and also that what we have in service learning that is called reflection could be really combined and helpful each other. So give us a little thoughts on that, on the reflection, how you use that, and maybe to make it harder, how you grade it.
Thank you. I will be talking about my course and my results. So the first thing I would love to share with you, that is when I ask my students to write their first reportages or essays, I give them absolute freedom to choose the topic, because for me it's important for them to have very relevant and important topics. And every year we have 1, 2, 3 students with their relatives or beloved ones killed at the front line, and they write memorial reportages or memorial portraits. So for sure it's therapeutical also text, and then based on reflection and discussion, we think about how, in what way we can publicate those texts in the media. Sometimes our protagonists or their relatives do not allow us to publicate those media because of this sensitivity of the topic. So that's the first stage for us to communicate, to think about it, and according to trauma-informed approach, the first thing is do not harm. And if our protagonists or their relatives agree to put those texts in the media, so the first level is to then to communicate with the media. so how do they see this topic? And the second level, I ask my students to monitor the discourse. So what kind of materials about this person or about this problem already, what kind of materials are available in the media? So we do Google table when we put their links to the materials, and also what is important, what is highlighted in those texts, and what is missed, what is missing, because it's also important to know what we need to focus on in the discourse, what is missing there. And so that is the second level of this reflection. So when we already finished with the text, then we have this editing process and also communication with the media, but also with our protagonists, because they authorize the material. Then it's another level. After the publication of media, we get all the feedbacks from the editors, from the protagonist, from the as I already mentioned, from the psychologist, or from the veterans or colleagues of our veterans, from Superhumans or from Unbroken. We also cooperate with them, and that is our third level of the reflection. So what is the resonance of those materials? And the fourth level sometimes appear when we have the master thesis defense, and also we have this discussion and exchange of reflections within the defense of such a work. And we usually have 3 or 4 master theses on the service learning projects based on them after the course. And that's what I'm usually proud of.
Good. That's really nice result, and that continuation was a dedication to the topic. Thank you, Mariia, and we will move on to our next presentation, which offers us a deep theoretical and methodological framework examining service learning through a concept of relational resilience, based on the supervisory experience of European and Ukrainian partners in the ServU project. So without others overdue, I will just give the floor to our colleagues who are joining us online. So thank you for this collaborative co-authors, really nice paper, and I would ask you to share with us your highlights. We cannot hear you yet. Okay.
Oh, you cannot hear?
Yeah, now it's working. Yes. Hello. Okay. Hello from Lviv.
Hello. Nice to see you. Hello, everyone. Do you see my screen also?
Yes, but please try to change the slide so we'll be sure that it's working. Yes, working? Excellent. So let's start. The floor is yours.
Perfect. Like to bring highlights from best regards and a lot of affection from Professor Mariia that she wanted to be here with us, but she couldn't because of an institutional thing that she needed to do. She wanted to be also physically, but it wasn't possible. But she expressed, together with Ioana and with me, a lot of joy and gratitude to be here in this project. So what, in the name of our group and in your name, that you worked on these 2 cases that we wanted to present today, we will try to talk about the relational resilience through service learning in wartime, Ukraine. So why this, let's see if it works now, but I think, okay, it works. Why this contribution matter? So we know that the war in Ukraine has deeply affected higher education institutions, local communities, students, teachers, children, families, and civic life. In this context, service learning cannot simply be implemented as a standard methodology. It has to be adapted carefully, ethically, and flexibly to local needs, institutional constraints, emotional vulnerability, and community priorities. So the central question of this contribution is therefore, how can service learning support recovery when university and communities are working under condition of disruption, uncertainty, and loss? So our answer in the service learning can contribute to recovery when it creates meaningful relationships between academic learning and community-defined needs. So this is why we frame the service learning experience through the concept of relational resilience. So by relational resilience, we mean that resilience is not only the ability of institutions to continue function, it is also the capacity to sustain and rebuild relationships that carry knowledge, care, responsibility, trust, and shared meaning. So a university is not resilient only because it continues to offer courses in this situation. It becomes resilient when it remains connected to communities, listen to their needs, and reorganize learning around socially meaningful form of action. So in this sense, relationships become a kind of infrastructure. They connect student, teachers, community, supervisor, and international partners. So this is the first message of our presentation. In recovery-oriented service learning, resilience is relational before it is procedural. So to explore this idea, we focused on 2 pilot courses developed with the ServU project. So forgive us if we choose only these 2, but for a format of space, the 2 cases were selected because they show 2 different but complementary dimensions of recovery. The first case focused on cultural memory, local identity, intergenerational dialogue, and public recognition. And the second case focused on psychological support, children emotional well-being, and community-based care. So our aim is not to present a standardized impact evolution, but to identify what this case taught us about adapting service learning in wartime and recovery context. Let's see the first one. So the first one, as Christina is the author, encourage students with the community of Kosovo and Ternopil region. Students worked through oral history interviews, ethnographic observation, memory work, participatory mapping, and curatory activities. So the aim was not simply to collect memory, but to support cultural and narrative recovery through collaboration with the community. In this case, service learning helped create space where local stories, lived experience, and community identity could be recognized and represented. So the key finding from this case is that recovery is not only material or infrastructural. Recovery also involves memory, involves recognition, involves intergenerational dialogue, and the responsibility of giving public meaning to experience of loss and continuity. And here was your wonderful work. So here, relational resilience emerged through listening, co-authorship, cultural production. In the other case, another beautiful case also represented by Sumy State University, Victoria and her team, this course addressed another urgent dimension of recovery, psychological support for children and adolescents affected by what you are already living. Students were prepared to organize signs of emotional distress, community empathy, and use simply psychological support tool in community setting. Activities include anti-stress games, storytelling, sensory exercises, but an important element was the connection with the school and school psychologists. This ensured that students' activities were not isolated, but embedded in existing local support networks. So the key findings from this case is that service learning can transform academic knowledge into low-threshold, community-accessible forms of care. So here resilience, relational resilience emerged through trust, emotional safety, supervision, and community-based support. So what do they have in common, these 2 things, these 2 important cases? It focused, the first one, the child mental health support focused on the psychosocial and educational dimension of recovery. The community of memory showed the cultural and civic dimension of recovery. Together, they show that service learning can be adapted to very different community needs while maintaining a common pedagogical structure. So this structure includes needs assessment, co-design, community engagement, student learning, reflections, and supervision. LUMSA had a role to contribute to the supervisory of one of the supervisory of this project. Was very interesting because our role was not to transfer a ready made model to Ukrainian partners. On the contrary, Ukrainian partners had the strongest contextual knowledge of their community institutional risk and priorities. So our role can be better described as a methodological accompaniment, also like other European university in the tandem. So this accompaniment involved three main functions. One was supporting the balance between service and learning, so the activities would not become generic volunteering. The second, reciprocity, so the community would not be treated as passive recipients, but as partners and co-educators. And the third, supporting reflection, ethical awareness. So especially in contexts involving memory, trauma, children, vulnerability, and wartime experience. So from this perspective, supervision is not an external technical support. It is part of the relational infrastructure that makes responsible service learning possible. What were the challenges? There were many, but the first challenge maybe was methodological adaptation. So service learning had to be flexible enough to respond to wartime conditions, but structured to preserve education quality. So the second challenge was ethically responsible, and all of you faced it in a very beautiful way. So working with memory, children, distress, and community vulnerability requires a lot of attention to boundaries, roles, expectation, and emotional safety. In this context, there is always a risk that service become one bidirectional assistance. For this reason, it was important to maintain the idea that community as not beneficiaries only, but partners in the educational process. So the main lesson learned in the service learning in wartime requires more than good intentions. It requires supervision, reflection, contextual sensitivity, and strong university community relationships. So a very humble recommendation is that first, service learning recovery context should always begin with community-defined needs, not only from academic objectives. Second, university should recognize community partners as co-educators. And the first one, supervision and reflection, should be protected as an essential component of the methodology. So they are not optional, additional, especially when students work with vulnerable communities. And the international partnership worked beautiful as a teaching tandem and spaces of mutual learning, because also we learned a lot from you and from all the partners. The purpose is not one-way transfer, but shared methodological development grounded in this wonderful Ukrainian context and supported by European collaboration. So in conclusion, a ServU experience suggests that service learning can support wartime and post-war recovery when it's adapted through relationship. So the two cases concretely showed us. The LUMSA supervisor experience showed the international partnership, as also our colleagues from the other university contribute through methodological accompaniment, reflection, and attention to reciprocity. So it is relational what happened, and it's not only one way. We want to thank you very much from the bottom of our heart, from Professor Mariia Cinque, Irene Culcasi, me also, for everything, to the ServU Consortium, to our Ukrainian partnership, our colleagues involved in the teaching tandems and pilot courses, and all of you that you are the main actors there. So thank you very much.
Thank you. This round of applause is for you. Thank you for your collaboration and for trying to also think and not only sugarcoat it, but also analyze the challenges and lesson learned. So let me know if there are any questions. If not, I would like to ask mine. I'm prepared because it's really interesting concept that you proposed, and this relationship that we built and trust we're trying to gain is quite important, but still in every methodology we are trying to evaluate and to measure, see that it's actually could be transferred somewhere else to different courses, to different countries. So maybe a little bit on this how this lesson learned, yeah, not saying that we did something wrong, but how we could now move forward. So about these methodological approaches and quality, quantity indicators, you know, what do you propose to use for evaluating this relational resilience, or maybe we don't have to. So maybe just your thoughts, and I will just giving the heads up for Yevgen that you will be next. Yeah, so please share with us your thoughts.
You know, when we thought to write about this concept, I thought about family. And I think we are all a big family. And I saw this. I think also Professor Mariia Cinque and my colleague Ioana are together with this. I saw when we met also Victoria and other colleagues when we made the supervision, that we are a big family, and there is these boundaries. You are there, we are here. Should be less bringing less than what is the geography. And I think service learning in this context showed this. You made it. It was something that I make up, but I observed from your wonderful work. So you are already doing this relational resilience, but maybe you are not so aware of it. And I think we should be more aware of this and this aspect of humanity that it's behind it. And we give it for granted sometimes. We do it and we give it for granted. So I said it together with Mariia and Irene. Maybe it should have a more space to be there and to be aware of what you are doing.
Thank you so much. Yes, for this acknowledgement. Yeah, and maybe it's true that we sometimes need someone to set for us that, because we are quite often doing it intuitionally, and after that we discover that is this methodology, and it really helps us to be on our ground and to be rooted in what we are doing. So thank you for joining us and for this nice partnership that we have built together. We are moving on to the next presentation, and it is, you know, frequently a myth that you could do the service learning only in some fields. Quite often social sciences and humanitarian science, but here we go, and here we are, and we see that service learning could be also used in hard science, and I'm really happy that Yevgen joined the project, and we have joined training in Leuven with Katya, and after that, and now there was a lot of questions, and there was a lot of challenging and we didn't have enough understanding what you are doing. But I read the paper and I think that you succeeded, and I'm really happy that you now have the opportunity to share your example, and I hope only that your example will be only the first and more will come. So the floor is yours. Будь ласка, Євгене, and Pan Mikola долучиться, Mikola will join, and you could sit or you could stand as you wish.
So to make this presentation a little bit more sustainable for all of us. So yeah, if you don't mind. Thank you so much. That's a good opportunity. Once Dnipro came to Lviv, something might be changing. Yeah. So it looks like that. So the floor is yours.
Dear colleagues, great congratulations for you. And let me start in Ukrainian. And Mikola helps me to translate.
That was English. Yeah, that's good.
Дорогі колеги, дозвольте представити результати наш досвід впровадження сервіс-орієнтованого навчання, дійсно, як сказала пані Христина, у hard science в енергетичному секторі. Сьогодні Дніпровська політехніка здійснює науково-технічний супровід багатьох територіальних громад Дніпропетровської області, і одна з громад, яка зголосилася з нами брати участь в сервіс-орієнтованому навчанні, це Чумаківська територіальна громада, і саме досвід співпраці з цією громадою ми сьогодні представимо.
In Dnipro University of Technology, we do a lot of things with different territorial communities to be in frames of cooperation in the aspects of like energy efficiency or something the sort of that. And the Chumaki territorial community is one of the territorial communities that were a long time in cooperation with Dnipro University of Technology, and would like to present some specific aspects of service learning in that community with the Dnipro University of Technology.
Під час сесії спілкування з нашими координаторами, з Катєю, з Марієн в університеті Льовена, ми дійсно задавали собі питання, яким чином реалізувати сервіс-орієнтоване навчання в важкій, в енергетичній сфері, яка сьогодні ще також є сферою дотичною до державної безпеки, і ми напрацювали певні підходи, які реалізували спільно з громадою.
It was rather complicated to elaborate approaches how to increase our capacities in energy management, because it's very strategic direction nowadays, and we had a lot of conversations to Katya, to Marianne with KU Leuven, so to understand how to make it better and how to realize what would be the further steps to improve the service learning in that sphere.
Тут відкрита позиція Чумаківської територіальної громади, яка звернулася із запитом, що необхідно допомогти розробити план дій сталого енергетичного розвитку та стратегію адаптації до змін клімату, в відповідності до того плану дій, який сьогодні реалізується територіальними громадами в Україні, і ми мали можливість якраз енергетичну складову такого плану розробити в рамках нашої дисципліни.
It was a win-win approach, so it means that territorial community applied to us asking what should be the next steps to implement the energy efficient plan and how to make this plan real. So in this case, service learning approach was the best solution for that situation.
Неочікуваним для наших здобувачів, для наших студентів стало те, що ми з аудиторії перемістилися безпосередньо в громаду, забезпечили живе спілкування з представниками місцевого самоврядування, з представниками населення просто на вулиці, почути, що від нас очікують. Також було спілкування з правоохоронними органами, які подумали, що ми є диверсантами, які збирають якусь інформацію. Тобто вже колеги казали про особливості спілкування з ветеранами, про особливості спілкування з дітьми з травмами. Тут також є свої особливості воєнного регіону, і в рамках цієї дисципліни студенти отримали навички живого спілкування, вибудовування ефективної комунікації.
Yes. So there was a very interesting situation when there were field surveys. So it means that students were all around the streets of Chumaki territorial community. So in community, it was very strange also for representatives from community to see students here, nearby them. So there were a lot of conversations, there were a lot of dialogues, also with different types of representatives from communities. So also it happened, one situation was curious situation with the like police. So they were asking that it's very complicated to be near the front line, the region near to the front line, asking what is going on with the territorial community, what is going on with the energy efficient issues. Are we the representatives of Russia? So, or diversants or something like that. I don't know how to explain all those issues, but in any case, it was really a nice opportunity to be real in deep communication with the community.
В результаті реалізації цього курсу, окрім класичної теоретичної підготовки, ми спробували примірити, які стандартні засоби побудови систем енергетичного менеджменту, впровадження відновлюваних джерел енергії, переорієнтування на місцеву енергетичну сировину, створення систем резервного живлення об'єктів можуть бути реалізовані в даній територіальній громаді.
We had a lot of information about that community, and we were trying to figure out what would be the most efficient way how to increase the energy resilience at that territorial community. What could be the storage systems implemented at that territorial community, and how can we diversify this circle of energy consumption and producing.
Особливістю реалізації цього курсу в територіальній громаді було те, що студенти весь час питали, це правда, що те, що ми сьогодні запропонуємо, дійсно буде в стратегії цієї громади і далі має шанс на впровадження. Це весь час мотивувало студентів здійснювати якнайкращий пошук тих рішень, які ми пропонуємо.
The students were wondering and they were very motivated, are those things that are doing the students are doing right now at the territorial communities, they will be directly implemented at the territorial community. And when we said yes, so that was the action plan and that was decision of all our team. So they were very happy about it. So and very motivated to deal with those issues.
Великим викликом для нас стало також знайти ту точку, де ми маємо зі студентами зупинитися в своєму пошуку і все ж таки скласти рекомендації, скласти проекти певних розділів стратегії розвитку громади.
So the very important thing was to understand at what point should we stop and just to try to summarize all of those things that we've discovered and to figure out what would be the next steps. We have 1 minute left.
В ході реалізації вже безпосередньо курсу, окрім класичних лекційних занять, практичних занять, було кілька виїздів безпосередньо до громади, де ми проводили живе спілкування, а також наші напрацювання ми презентували представникам різних громад Дніпропетровщини та всієї України на нашій щорічній конференції «ЦКА Спроможна територіальна громада».
So we have a lot of results of that service learning issues. We have a lot of information. We've discovered a lot of things with according to those directions that we've planned. And so during the communication process at that territorial community, and also we've already implemented that course and we presented it during the forum, international forum, Safe, Comfortable, Capable Territorial Community. So we have a lot of different spin-offs of that project, not directly related to community issues.
Ми казали про те, що реалізуються курси сервіс-орієнтованого навчання тандемами викладачів, так і дійсно для супроводу наших студентів, для забезпечення ефективної комунікації між окремими групами, хто розробляє цю стратегію, між студентами та представниками громади доводилося проводити додаткові сесії навчання саме для того, щоб провести роз'яснювальну роботу, для того, щоб визначити ці точки, які вже достатні для впровадження в елементи стратегії.
Also for both parties, for students and for territorial communities, we had additional learning to understand what should be the key points just to stop introducing more and more and to develop the strategy overall. So it was necessary for all of them just to realize where this strategy could be when this strategy could be directly implemented, and what could be the like MVP for that developed issue.
І забігаючи трохи наперед на тематики наступних сесій, якщо дозволите, сьогодні тим індикатором, що проєкт є успішний, є те, що ми від іншої громади отримали також запит на розробки подібної стратегії, тобто дійсно на цьому проєкт не зупиняється. Ми бачимо і залученість студентів, їх мотивованість, покращені оцінки порівняно з іншими студентами, хто вивчав цю дисципліну, і разом з тим бачимо запит від громади, що свідчить про і ефективність проєкту, і одночасно про зростання ролі університету в громаді, реалізації третьої місії служіння.
Okay, so how can we understand, or how can we measure that this project was successful? So we have another application from another territorial community to do something similar with that approach. So we understand that we can do where we're able to do that. First of all, second thing is that the marks of the student have been increased, and it's also very positive thing. So, and another very important issue where we understand that we're trying to realize, not in theory, but in practice, the third mission of higher education institutions, to be the part of community and to understand the value of higher education institutions inside the development of territorial communities.
Дякую за увагу.
Thank you for your attention. Це було краще, останнє, простіше.
Thank you so much. На жаль, нас вже нема часу, але ми маємо можливість в коридорах, в перервах. Пане Григорію, я запрошую скористатися можливістю і з колегами поспілкуватися. So, unfortunately, we are I was so trying, to be on schedule, but you're sharing, and it's really interesting to hear. So thank you, and thank you, Yevgen, for taking this step forward in STEM and hard sciences to include and adapt the methodology. It was really nice hearing and about the grading and asking and needs. So we have last but not least presentation from our partner university in Eichstätt-Ingolstadt, and Kerstin will share her perspective and also some thoughts on service learning in business education, and will share the comparative analysis of course design and implementation in Germany and Ukraine. I'm looking forward for this presentation. So Kerstin, the floor is yours. Let us hear you.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
And also see my presentation. Perfect. Thanks. Yeah, it's great to be here now today, at least online. Hi from Germany again. I would like to use my 8 minutes to go into the field of business education. Just to give you the context, why am I talking about business education? So originally I'm from the field of tourism, and there we combine geography and business education in teaching and research. And that's why our projects with service learning are mainly in this, going into this direction. So I had the pleasure to work with 2 colleagues from Ukraine in international teaching tandems in work package 4. And before I also did some courses in the field of tourism here in Germany. And so I thought about what did I learn from these 2 completely different perspectives. And I wanted to try to compare and find maybe some lessons learned. So first of all, I think it's clear that service learning has gained momentum across various disciplines. But if you go deeper into the disciplines, you can see that it is fairly integrated in economics and business administration, and even less in hospitality and tourism, which really surprises me, to be honest. So it remains kind of underdeveloped, but many publications already showed that it can be a valuable component for business education. And especially if I'm thinking about social entrepreneurship, which is one of our fields, I think it fits perfectly. And that's why we as a tourism department at KU tried to further develop our courses. So previously we already incorporated practice-oriented and community-based projects. So that's nothing new for us, but bringing it on a service learning level, especially with this clear focus on reflection and communication is what we are aiming at the moment. And so I would like to show you two courses that we did in the field of tourism. One was called the Planning and Consulting Project, and there we faced the challenge how to foster regenerative tourism in protected areas. So we worked together with these area organizations, and our students conducted a survey and gave practical implications for these organizations, and especially for the hosts that are operating in these areas. So for the students, it was a great insight into the systems thinking, into hospitality, and we supported the regenerative development, or gave some ideas at least for the hosts. Another course that we did was on destination management, especially on sustainable mobility for farm-based tourism destinations. That was also done with kind of survey, was relatively evidence-based, then to give some recommendations for agricultural stakeholders, how to make mobility more accessible in such rural destinations. So students again learned about stakeholder awareness and sustainability, and our partners, community partners, got a contribution to sustainable rural tourism and best business development, which gave new perspectives to them and a great exchange with our students. So these were the courses that we just did in Germany. And then, as I said, I had the pleasure to be part of Work Package 4. And there we also had two courses where I could be in a teaching tandem, also in the field of business education. So I already saw that Anastasia is here today. I'm not sure if Elena is there as well. It's great to see you again. And they are the experts in their courses, but I would like to present it nevertheless for the comparison here. So one course was in entrepreneurship and digital business communications at SUMI State University. And there the aim was to rebuild critical skills by training and professional development for displaced persons. So really interesting idea, or really necessary. They did offline workshops and webinars to foster the entrepreneurial thinking in the local community. Another course was on personal finance. So there the challenge that was faced was the low financial literacy among local community and especially school children. And so students first acquired their financial literacy expertise and then developed a training program that they could do with school children afterwards. So also a really impactful course and concept. So as I said, I tried to summarize where maybe I see some different pathways to service learning impact, because my courses in Germany were more on the tourism, in the tourism field. The others were clearly in business education, and still just 4 courses. So the comparison is relatively small, but I already saw some differences and some similarities. So I think in our German courses, research question was clearly developed with the community partners. So it's mainly the case that they come and ask for cooperation here. And in Ukraine, it was really fascinating that it were real community challenges that were identified. So in our case, it's more coming from organizations in tourism. And I really like this approach to see how community plays a role from the first step on in Ukraine. Implementation, I think that was just based on the courses, that we were more focused on surveys and field research. And in Ukraine, I saw lots of interesting approaches towards training design and workshops and webinars. I will learn a lot from for my courses too. And to just pick one other, I think the role of students is important. So in our tourism courses, students were mainly researchers. They analyzed, they were consultants. That's because our courses are also built like that. But I also liked a lot how the Ukrainian courses really made them to be learners, trainers, and facilitators. And I think that's something that is one of the main goals of service learning here. And it's interesting to see students in such roles. So to conclude, which added value do I see here for service learning? First of all, to business education. So I think that's something that is really underdeveloped in business education, that it connects theory with an authentic societal challenge. And therefore, the competency development is on a completely different level. And therefore, I really appreciate service learning in business education. I would also like to emphasize the role of the international teaching tandems here, not just for business education, but in general. This exchange of service learning practices was really valuable. And I personally learned a lot from that. And I hope that's something that we do not just have in such projects like this ServU, but I hope that we can foster that also in the future. So to conclude, for me, service learning really enables business education to connect with societal impact, which is really important nowadays. And again, I would like to emphasize that the international teaching tandem was valuable to see service learning in different societal contexts, still preserving its educational and societal value. So thanks a lot. And
thank you.
I'm looking forward to questions.
This is a tough one because we're already behind the schedule. But dear colleagues, okay, if there is any questions, there is also the emails. So you could email directly to our colleagues and discuss further the issues, potential collaboration, COIL service learning courses. We really encourage them, and I believe that it will be also maybe next steps. So thank you so much for all my colleagues for this dedication and for this session. It was the session that we tried to dedicate to the methodology of service learning, but we also, I think, we gained more, and we heard insights, and we heard jokes, and we heard some potential maybe next steps. It was a panel for where we tried to go and see about this multidimensional recovery. We emphasize about teaching tandems and collaboration between Ukrainian colleagues, international colleagues, students and teachers. So thank you so much. I have prepared long speech, but I understand that I have to cut it short, and thank you again. I sincerely thank you. We have prepared the presents for each of our people who are on stage and online. Maybe will receive something electronically, but this is our book of abstract that you could see printed already, and you could read it carefully, and you could have and read it online. as well, and we have the certificates for everyone. We need this also, and maybe beautiful candles that you could share with your colleagues, co-authors in the classroom or home, and this will remind you about this collaboration. So we'll have a picture, photo taken, and maybe 2 words about Amy.
Well, why don't we have a picture of this panel, if possible? Свічечки гарно пахнуть. Христо, тут твій теж book of abstracts. So now we will have a video from our first keynote speaker. She's a great friend of Ukrainian Catholic University. She started to work with us before she ever been to Ukraine. She's originally American but lives in Australia. So I think that she tells a lot about how we started the cooperation, and I hope you get inspired by her as well.
On the 6th day of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, with most of her students scattered to safer places, UKU's Vice-Rector of Strategic Development, Sophia Opatska, did something she had never done before. She rebuilt her international business course around a service learning project. By 4 o'clock that Tuesday afternoon, her students had drafted their first letters to global companies asking them to leave the Russian market. They were students in the chaos of war, doing the work of engaged citizens. This is where my journey with you, my commitment to Ukraine, and my forever friendship with Sophia began. I came to Ukrainian Catholic University in October of 2022, first virtually, now in person as a visiting professor in the business school, to learn from the educators who were doing something the rest of the world had not yet explored, considered, or discussed, teaching within war, with service learning as the keystone of their practice. 4 years on, that practice has grown. It has been institutionalized here at UKU. It has been embraced by those of you who work at universities in Sumy and Dnipro, located on the easternmost frontline regions of this war. It has crossed borders into partnership with Catholic universities in Italy, Belgium, and Germany. What started as an intuitive response to the unthinkable has become a community of practice reaching across Europe. I have been a practitioner and scholar of service learning for over 35 years, starting out in 1991 as one of the founding members of the Bentley Service Learning and Community Engagement Center, the first of its kind business school-based service learning program in the world. With respect to my work with UKU, I was initially brought in as an international service learning expert, a practitioner, researcher, and scholar. Now, I leave every conversation as a student. So please let me share with you what you were teaching the rest of us around the world. You have shown us that service learning is not a teaching tool. It is a way of being together inside something larger than yourself. It is how a journalism class becomes a media platform broadcasting truth in 47 languages across 43 countries. It is how a careers seminar becomes a circle of high school students reimagining their futures across the rubble of their homes and cities. It is how an MBA program becomes a strategic engine for the humanitarian aid centers feeding, clothing, and rebuilding this country. You have shown us that hope is not a feeling, it is an action, one captured in the beautiful Ukrainian word nadia, meaning hope, translated into on action. It is what happens when a vice-rector teaching an international business course rebuilds her syllabus in 24 hours because her students need to feel useful, to contribute, to stand together making a difference for their country and their people. It is what happens when a faculty member stops their class for an air raid alert, walks their students to the shelter, and keeps teaching. It is what happens when a colleague in Lviv writes to a colleague in Australia and says, Pobashta nas, see us. And a friendship becomes a research program, and a research program becomes a movement. And you have shown us through your students, through your projects, through your resilience and daily acts of courage and care that the deepest form of solidarity is what political scientist Joan Tronto calls caring with. Not caring for one another at a distance, but standing alongside, sharing the weight, receiving as well as giving, shaping a democratic citizenry. This is the gift you have built through resilience, hope, connection, and an unrelenting commitment to your people, history, community, and future. The world needs it, needs you, now more than you may realize. We had hoped, all of us, that we would not still be here, that this war would be finished with Ukraine standing victorious by now. It is not. And yet, sustaining freedom, defending democracy, holding open the spaces where young people can learn to become themselves, these are not pauses between the war and the peace. These are how Ukraine wins. Service learning is one of the ways you are winning. Every project anchors a student in their community. Every reflection turns trauma into understanding. Every partnership drops another stone of hope into the water, and the ripples reach further than you can see from where you are standing. So let me say what I've come here to say. You are world leaders, not aspiring to be, not on the way to becoming. You are. You are teaching the rest of us how to hold our classrooms open when the world falls apart. You are teaching educators in every crisis environment, financial, political, environmental, ethical, what it means to be a caring people. Hominis curans in the truest sense. We are listening, we are learning, and we are standing with you as colleagues and friends in your fight for Ukraine, for its people, its culture, its history, its future, and its fundamentally moral, ethical, and human right to live with an enduring peace. You inspire us. And as you carry service learning forward into the universities of Ukraine's recovery, into every place where education must hold the line against despair, every stone of hope you drop will keep sending ripples long after this war ends. You are not only world leaders, you are community builders, and the communities you are building here and beyond are the foundation Ukraine will rise upon. So keep building, keep teaching us, keep showing us what hope looks like when it acts. And know this, everyone in this room, Ukrainian and non-Ukrainian, colleagues, partners, and friends, will stand with you, walk with you, and keep building with you, side by side, for as long as it takes. Дякую. Thank you.
That's important to have friends, right? Okay, I would like to pass the mic to Oля Mikhailishyn. She will lead the next session. As you remember, we don't have a break until lunch, but we are just 1 hour before lunch. So, Oля, the floor is yours, and you have, I know you have wonderful colleagues to share also their cases and stories. Please.
Thank you so much. I will try to be so short as possible. First of all, it's a great honor for me, a great pleasure to be here as moderator, because UKU is not my formal alma mater, but for sure is my Magister Vitae. So thank you for this. And I would like to invite to this stage the colleagues who will be presenting now. Some of colleagues will be on pre-recorded videos. They are from Bethlehem University, but we are virtually inviting them. But I invite Yulia Vintoniev, please. I invite Alexandra Leshenko from Ukrainian Catholic University, Olesya Datsko from the Lviv National Academy of Arts, and Mariia Fleichuk from Lviv University of Trade Economics. Okay, at least those who will be presenting. And I also invite Kerstin Rutor, and Sophia Lazorko, Vika Martinenko, and Nadia Edenko from Ukrainian Catholic University. Please, colleague, if you feel free, if you feel more comfortable to staying in audience, it's also okay, but I would like to invite you. Okay. So our session will be devoted to institutionalization, sustainability, and inclusive models of service learning. And when we talk about institutionalization, we first think about a lot of administrative tasks, things, directions, vectors, stakeholders, but actually service learning is going far beyond the university. And you know, to make all this mechanism, all this structure working, we are thinking about such as the magic glue, like communication, relationship, values, dignity, belonging. So we will discuss all these things now. And actually, before we start, I need to confess, having the possibility to work in service learning for long in different projects, I know personally almost all speakers, including our Bethlehem colleagues. So I think let us think it not like scientific conference, but like a friendly talk about service learning. So let us start with pre-recorded video from Bethlehem University. My colleagues, our colleagues, Lais Avad and Paola Handal. When we talk about service learning during war, of course, this project is more concentrated on Ukraine, but actually war, unfortunately, in today's society is not so unique notion. And our colleagues from Palestine will also share their experience how to implement service learning in war, in military conflict situation.
Hello, greetings from Palestine. I'm Paula Handel, and I'm one of the co-directors of the Academic Innovation Hub here at Bethlehem University, where I support applied teaching and methodologies, including service learning.
My name is Laith Awad, and I'm an instructor at the English Language, Literature and Communications Department here at Bethlehem University, where I practice service learning and I research service learning. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the ongoing institutionalization of service learning at Bethlehem University. We will focus on the three layers: institutional efforts, faculty innovation, and classroom practice, especially in Palestine when there's a war that's happening. Why institutionalization matters? Because our goal is to move from isolated initiatives to sustainable, systematic, university widespread practice of service learning. At Bethlehem University, our mission has always been to provide quality higher education to the people of Palestine and to serve them. That's something that has always been as part of our mission, our vision, and what we do on campus. But in wartime, this mission even becomes more urgent as service learning bridges this disrupted learning and connects it with the learning outcomes, the social engagement, and the meaningful community action.
Institutionalization is not a very simple process, especially during wartime and in a conflict-afflicted area. However, we're following Furkel's self-assessment rubric that frames service learning through 5 independent dimensions. We have philosophy and mission, faculty support, student support, community partnerships, and institutional support. With new leadership at Bethlehem University came a new vision. We have now the transformative educational model, and service learning is part of that model, where academic learning and social engagement equals transformative impact. Service learning is now becoming part of BU's educational identity, not only an individual course practice. It's been 1.5 years now. What my office is in charge of is where we are now. We have embedded a culture in policy where we have incorporated service learning into our strategic plans, our mission statements, and our core goals. We have now started fundraising for the years to come, and we have a central office of which is the Academic Innovation Hub, where everything is centralized and all the documentation and support takes place. We also have faculty support and reward, where we train faculty, we share successes and challenges, and we not only focus on research, but we also have recognition. Last but not least, we are expanding the number of courses that integrate service learning across different departments at the university. Our first layer in the instructional structure is that in spring 2026, this past semester, we went from 6 service learning courses to 23. We had 6 projects that were funded. 2 faculty published our articles on service learning, and we had 2 global judges serving as judges at the University Award along with applicants. We also have established a committee at Bethlehem University where we have 1 representative of every department serving as liaisons between my office and their departments. We'll be launching a portal in the fall, where everything will be documented, making it easier for not only the faculty members, but the partners to all have everything centralized. We will also launch our website at the Bethlehem University website in the fall with all our stories, information, faculty who's doing service learning, so anybody would get information that they need. Last but not least, we are encouraging faculty to present at different service learning international conferences, just so they can have a little bit of that experience. The second layer as well definitely involves faculty development. What we have been doing for the past year and a half is that we have provided training and mentoring and coordinating and establishing of different partnerships in the community. That has been really, really moving along.
And then the third layer comes in. Of course, we need institutional support and institutionalization of service learning, but we also need the classroom practice and the faculty to be interested in doing the work. In the English department, we've done multiple service learning projects where our students, they design, they create, they work with partners, they reflect critically, and they communicate these learning outcomes and their learning publicly. And also as faculty, this part is really important for institutionalization, the public communication, because classroom practice becomes stronger when it is documented, researched, and shared with the rest of the public and the service learning community. My colleague, Mr. Ayad, and I, we published recently research that's a case study that's based on 2 service learning courses, where we've seen that there was student growth in the academic part, like digital competencies, but also spiritually, where students felt they had agency in these challenging times. Of course, these were all connected and addressing urgent social needs. But what's really important about this research, that it was a case study. So other educators within at Bethlehem University or outside of the university, they can adapt this case, they can modify it, they can replicate it into their own settings and their own unique courses. Again, this really matters for institutionalization because it makes good practice visible and usable with other faculty members. And our final takeaway is that institutionalizing service learning in a crisis context requires a dual approach. It needs to be supported and it also needs to be flexible. When I say supported, we need support from the institution, connected with the university's mission, from the leadership. We need faculty training, committees, funding, and all of that. But it also needs flexibility from the faculty because we need to remember in times of crisis, the students, the faculty, the community partners are all dealing with changing realities, difficult realities. If we only have structure, it's too rigid. And if we only have just isolated experiences, they become fragile on their own. So when they come together, structure and flexibility, this is the only time we can have sustainable, meaningful service learning that's really responsive to real urgent community needs. Our experience in Palestine speaks directly to similar experiences and challenges in Ukraine, in Palestine, and other crisis-affected universities or areas. That shows that we all have a shared goal in this global conversation. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lais. Thank you, Paola. Dear colleagues, we will build our session as we will have a presentation first and later questions, because some questions probably will be addressed to all the speakers, the same question. So I think it would be great. So now from more administrative steps, I would like to move a little bit to more human-centered and philosophic aspect of service learning. And I invite Yulia Vintonio with this speech from engagement to belonging, reflecting on service learning and the dignity of human person. Yulia, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone. Slava Isusu Christu, parole. Yes, I have presentation and I can just switch it. Okay. So today I wanna talk about engagement, from engagement to belonging. It was my experience, my still experience of the service learning project that I did and I do and will do next year during the course that I co-teaching with the Archbishop Boris Gudyak since 2022, the Art of Leadership. And honestly, this course brings me a hope and like meaning why I should stay as a teacher, because my students did all of this with me. And the central question of the research that you can read in this wonderful book, it's how can service learning foster belonging and human dignity rather than mere engagement. And many universities do service learning, and many universities do a lot of volunteering, but service learning with people with mental disabilities brings us something other. It brings us a belonging, and it is something deeper, because you have to be being accepted, being needed, and you becoming the co-creator of shared space. And to understand this argument, you have to think about inclusion. The world of inclusion means that someone was excluded, and in Ukraine we have a lot of people who may be excluded because of the war and because of all of the wound that they had, that war bring them. And that's why, for me, this course, it's not only about doing something, it's about human dignity at all. So traditionally, a disability, it's often mean to do something medical, to treat medically, or to fixed, but social improvement, it doesn't works at all, especially if you try to talk about inclusion during the war. So, however, I try to talk about human relationships, and dignity-centered perspective reminds us that dignity is not something that people must prove or earn. It's something that belongs to every person. And when we switch this idea from the general understanding of human dignity to understanding that human dignity, it's for everyone, and everyone earns don't have to earn it. It's switch our course to another dimension. And so why service learning? And service learning, previously I mentioned that this course was, I do this course with Archbishop Boris Gudiak, the course title The Art of Leadership, but I named this project I Want to Be Your Friend, not only because friendship is something really common for us, but because I see that there is a crisis of friendship, true friendship as well. So, and service learning, it's not about, especially with inclusive theater, inclusive NGOs, inclusive government, it's about not about hierarchy, it's about not about doing something for people, it's about learning with people. The focus shift from service to encounter, from assistant to exchange, and student and community partners become co-learner and co-creator of another reality. And students, a key concept of this process is vulnerability. And the first, when I heard this word in Ukrainian, it's вразливість, you know, it's mean that you have to lose your control, you have to lose your efficiency, and you have to bring something that not always appreciate, especially in this, in university, because you have to control, you have to improve yourself, you have to have hard skills, not always like about kind of soft skill, but for me it's not only about something, especially during the context of Ukraine, become vulnerability, it's our reality. We don't know when the next missile will go, and that's why we all are vulnerable. So it helps students to improve their perspective from I towards we, and also it brings some gifts from this vulnerable world. So the practical example comes from the course of Art of Leadership, and together with NGOs Майстерня Mariia, students participate in progress project I Want to Be a Friend. So students spend some time with people with intellectual disabilities through regular meetings, conversation, if people with mental disability can talk, and shared activities. And as the partnership developed, students and participants became engaged to the joint product for the benefit of the third party. So it's not, my students don't do some work for people with mental disabilities, they together do something for people outside these communities. So importantly, the goal was not to provide a service in traditional sense. The goal was friendship, encounter, and mutual presence. Students discovered that the leadership, it's not primarily about power or influence, it's about being present to another person and remain in relationship. And a little bit of key findings. The students' reflections reveal several important things. And first, many students experience a shift from doing to being. And in university, just being, it sometimes feels like not enough. But for my students, it was something that they find in this particular service learning. They realized that their value was not connected to productivity or performance. The next one. My student discovered the importance of mutuality. Many students reported receiving more than they accepted to give. It's like something that you cannot measure. And third one, they began to see leadership differently, not the authority, but the devotion, friendship, and responsibility, especially responsibility of the future of Ukraine. And finally, they experienced belonging. Instead of feeling like outsiders helping others, they became part of the shared community where everyone contributed and everyone learned. This demonstrates how inclusive service learning can challenge stereotypes and create authentic human connections. And conclusions. To conclude, this inclusive service learning offers a powerful framework for transforming higher education. When grounded in the dignity of the human person, it moves beyond engagement towards belonging. It teaches students not only professional skills, but also to capacity to encounter their with openness, respect, and humbleness. And thank you. And this is picture from my camp with Faith and Light, and I was a dog. That's why I love to do this service learning with people with mental disability, because you always can be a dog in different camps. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yulia. And thanks to this project and other project you are involved in, it's easy to see how much strength actually is in vulnerability, in weakness, and in fragility. Thank you. And our journey moves further after some administrative hints from Bethlehem, some valuable background from Yulia. We are moving to the projects they were realized in small communities, and I would like to invite Kerstin Rutar, Sophia Lazorko, Vika Martinenko, and Nadia Kidenko from Ukrainian Catholic University. They will make their presentation. University Cultural Institution Collaboration in Small Communities, Working with Cultural Memory through Service Learning.
Thank you. Here we go again. Did you miss me? So I will be really short, just giving the intro for my student, because I say that they don't want to share without me. It's really sweet. But actually, I feel that when we're talking about service learning, it's really important to have the student's perspective. You could read my article in the book of abstracts again. So we will do a little bit of stand-up here. First, context and problem formulation. So we are at the CU, we understand the third mission. We have to be the university that serves. We have the ServU project. We have the calling from the community, and we have the open call to join and offer some courses. So I applied. And thank you for inviting me for this beautiful collaboration, because I went deeply into the service learning methodology, and it was thanks to Katya and for training and for reading. And I thank my students that they choose the course because it's not obligatory course, it's a spec course that you choose, elective, and without them it will be no possible. And I thank also the community, Kosovo community, that welcomed us. So we are cultural studies program, so we work with culture, and problem or the challenge for the community, top 3 priority was, next slide, was actually to have the, oh sorry, I thought that it was, we should do in change slides. It was to have the space for youth to be more engaged. We cannot build the hub, but we can invite youth and give some new tools how to work with culture. But I go deeply into service learning methodology, and I noticed that there is something like motivation again and diagnosis again, and it's a 4th year students, so they're alumni almost, and I discovered that I knew them, but I don't know them. And I invited them to, before we go to the community, to share their own stories, their own memory map, before creating the map for the community. And that sessions were so powerful. They not only motivated, I think, themselves, but me as well. So the stories from Donetsk, from Rusów, from Dnipro, Chornomorsk, Lviv, Konstantinivka, and it's in memory of these cities. They gave us the motivation to carry on and go to the community. So I pass the word to my beautiful students. We have also student Ivan. He is probably on training because he wants to be a coach. So, but here are the 3 students that took the course, and I invited them not only to present but also reflect. Why did you choose and what gave you?
Thank you for opportunity to share. So my role, like student assistant of this course, was to mix together all our ideas, all our propositions for the community to one narrative and one poster, what we can see, to invite our community to our events. Our small group of 10 students divides into 4 micro groups, and each group presents their own ideas, what we can propose to our teenagers, because we choose that we want to work with teenagers. And why we divide for these 4 groups? Because we all wanted to take some personal in this course. And now, with reflection, I understand it was 2 reasons why we had this high level of motivation to be engagement in this course. The first one, it's the understanding that we really have opportunities and possibilities to do something cool things. And first of all, it was the expert mentor support for us. We have resources to implement our big ideas in the reality, and we have the space for being creative. All these circumstances gives us this motivation to really thinking about big things and the understanding that we are able to do these things. And the second is responsibility for our community, because when we in the class thinking about problems, thinking about some possible resolutions for these problems, it's completely different when we speak with our community, with our teenagers. We ask them what they want, what they need, and together thinking about our solutions, about ideas, what we can do. This responsibility I truly understand when we go to our village Bishki with some lessons, programs, and lesson about memory, I can say in 2 words. And it was after the big missile attack in Lviv. We spent all night in bomb shelter, and after that, in the morning, we decided anyway to go because we know that teenagers wait for us, and this connection was really important and for us. And second thing what I want to share, it's for me it was really important to understand that our learning is needed for society. Our learning have real impact for some people. It was the reason why I go to UKU, and in service learning it the straight I think way to make this wish come true, because in our learning process we can work with people, we can try ourselves in our profession, and it was really important for me. Its impact was not even in our micro projects, but in some influences that we are really can't imagine before, because we know that after our visit, teenagers was inspired and they took initiative to created a student council in the city. So we're very proud of it and very happy that we a little bit it takes our part of it.
I will continue. Yeah, when I get that course, I thought that this course, the community of memory, I thought that I know what to expect, but I was really wrong. It was much harder and more meaningful, I can say, because about this complexity of working with the communities, with the students, with different institutions, and that is also about this complexity of working with the heritage that is better known to residents rather to us, and that was complex to do. That is why, therefore, in one step of our working, we went to this Kosovo. We have some meetings. The first one was in an informal way, and the second was exactly in the school. And that was a new hard thing. We were needed to find a new way how we can communicate with them. We needed to find a common language, because the teenagers from the 8th to 11th grades, they were fooled around, they were loved, and we needed to grab their attention. And one of those methods was working with the stickers, and we just asked them to share their memories about the Kosovo place, to share their thoughts about very important places, because these places and they represent also the part of their identity. And that is why we grabbed all this information and we made this pop art exhibition. We used everything that we had. We used the historical photos, we used information from the archives, also used these answers from the students. We made all of that to make this exhibition very attractive. So students, they just grab the cubes, they communicate with them, we just combine them, and that was the thing that we really wanted. But exactly in this exhibition, there were not a lot of people, even the representatives of the House of Culture, where this exhibition was, they weren't there. And maybe that is because of the fundrail and the barrier of the barrier that was in the same time. And we don't know. That is this situation, I think, that represents this education, the time of war, but you just need to make the better decision and go. And what I understood during this course, that community is a really co-author, and when we need, if we want to implement something to that community, we really need to be ready to change a lot of times our plans and to adapt.
Yeah, and also two other projects that we had. It was a quest. Yeah, Michael can show it to you. And as well, we had a historical mafia. Everything is completely made and designed for Kosovo and for that community, about their places, about their stories. And maybe we can even hand them around, you know. But please give it back. So yeah, the very important thing that was especially important for me, what I got from this course, is the skill how to communicate with the communities about something that is important or not really important, something well known or something more kind of hidden for them, about their own history and what they know about the place they live in and grew up in. You can see we have this chat where almost 60 teenagers were helping us create those projects, those games, and they were, because we are not locals, it was more difficult for us to understand more tiny and precise things, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. For example, we asked them, and we were talking a lot while making that, while creating that historical mafia about Kosovo. we asked them whether it's okay to make all the characters in this mafia as kozy, as goats, because Kozova in English you could translate it something like goat town, and we were curious. It was important for us to understand: is it okay for them? Is it not cringe? Like, can they, like, would it be funny, or it would be like, oh, we don't like it, we are fed up with these jokes? They told us they were not fed up, they really enjoyed it, and we were confident that if we use it, it's gonna be okay and won't offend anyone. And so this was a very important, this part of co-creation, those projects with the people, with the members of community. And the second very important thing is that it was vital for us to keep those projects living even when we are gone. So we created, for example, that quest and this mafia game as and left the copies of it with the members of the community. For example, with the local historian Pan Volodymyr, or with the Kozova Zamok, that's like a castle that they want to make a hub. Yeah, and we left a couple of copies, couple of samples, not couple, a lot, to be honest, there. And we already got the feedback from them that they really, they, first of all, they use it. So those projects, they live there even when we are gone, when we are not there. So those are like two the most vital things that were for me in this course.
There is no more time for us. Too much information, even though we tried. There was challenges. Obviously, not everything went smoothly. There is challenges, for instance, that for local community and cultural institution, they have different time and tasks. For us, there is project, there is 1 semester, and we have to move forward. For them, there is routines and different tasks, and they don't have enough resources to give us right away. So maybe we need 1 year course, service learning, when you work with local communities. So there is some findings, and I really encourage to share during the lunch break and approach the students and discuss. Thank you, and sorry.
Thank you so much, especially, sorry Christina, but especially for students, I would like to thank for their proactive position. And we will continue with the topic of historical heritage and cultural topics. And I invite colleagues, Alexandra Leshenko from Ukrainian Catholic University, Olesya Dadko from the Lviv National Academy of Arts, and Mariia Fleichuk from the Lviv University of Trade Economics, with the topic Service Learning, Cultural Heritage and Community Resilience in Wartime Ukraine, the case of ZENA-HLYNIANY-ART-STUDIO. Colleagues, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Could I sit? Thank you, because it's more comfortable to be between incredible colleagues. Thank you, and where is our presentation? And okay. Thank you. We are Ukrainian and international colleague. Thank you so much for this great opportunity. And it's a great privilege and a great responsibility to present this case today for me. And the responsibility is even greater knowing that lunch comes next. So I will try to keep these few minutes both useful and interesting. And today I would like to present a service learning project that connects cultural heritage, higher education, and community resilience in wartime Ukraine. Could I help me? Maybe? Yeah. It was. It I wait lunch, maybe. And you know, it's my pleasure to introduce first of all my incredible colleagues. Without them help, its project it doesn't create. And please invite my huge helper team, Dr. Olesa Datsko. She is a Doctor of Science, and she is head of department of Lviv National Art Academy, and Mariia, Dr. Mariia Flechuk. She is Doctor of Economics, and she is professor of Lviv Trade Economic National University. But in this place, she is as co-founder or founder, founder of Gliniani Art, ZENA-HLYNIANY-ART. It's work without my without me. Okay, and my first of all, I want to ask you. Sorry, has anyone here visited in Gliniani? Could you have? Oh, nice, but so many people don't see this great place, and I have very many interesting for you in this day. And my presentation is based on the case study. It lives without me, so yeah, and it's amazing. It's nice. My presentation is based on the case study of the ZENA-HLYNIANY-ART-STUDIO in the Lviv region, and this project shows how cultural heritage can become not only a symbol of the past, but also a practical resources for community and development and resilience. What is main idea? So this is first slide of our white paper. This is not only very many slides, but as said Dr. Mariia Flechuk, this is absolutely high quality consulting project for the Gliniani Art Studio. And it's for me, I was very proud for our students who has main opportunity, who study law as a basic specialty. And the student learned introduction to economy as one of not specialty but main course. And the student is study bachelor and only short courses. So it's very big challenges, but students did it. And I am deeply sure that its project doesn't impossible without so strongly interdisciplinary connection. And what is the main idea next? maybe it will be next slide. We wanted to understand how cultural heritage can support communities during difficult times. And maybe you ask me why Gliniani was the specific place and specific company for this project. It was only 3 projects in my life, and I want to great thankful for the university for the open for me this what is this short mission of university. And you know, the wartime is very difficult time, but always it's a great opportunity. And I'm sure absolutely that if we don't have this wartime Russia aggression against Ukraine during 13 years ago, I don't know, could I do this project or not? And my short answer maybe not. And let be new. Let be nice news for us. Let be nice news for us.
And what is Gliniana? What is Gliniana Studio? This is community. Partner was Gliniana Art Studio, and why? Because 4 years ago, in the absolutely other project, but during full-scale invasion Russia and Ukraine, beautiful doctor of economic science, Lesa Datsko, who studied economic security, as we all, invite me in Gliniani, and I fall in love in this territory. But it's not about a territory, about a great project, about great people, and about something that I didn't know before it. And I was very surprised, this short speller, that very many students who live in Lviv region and live so close for the Gliniani don't know about what is beautiful place. So it was scientific and culture and some geographical and of course very interesting enterprise experience. And for our students, this became real-life learning environmental rather than theoretical case. What is our why this case? This case, first of all, because speciality in this panel, because this case about institutionalization, about of course about sustainability, about inclusion, and about wartime relevance. Students and community, how we work it and what we have. An important part of the project was direct international interactions between students and the community. And in this slide, you can see on the right corner 3 great women, and in the center we can see Dr. Zinovia Shulga. And ZENA, this is a part of her name, which include in name of the of this enterprise. And I don't know how this moves a slide, but context in and our community partner. Gliniani has rich cultural history and a strong weaving tradition. And you could see that is King City. It was King City. And I believe that the Dr. Zinovia, Dr. Olesya, and Dr. Mariia will do the make Gliniani great again. Cultural heritage context. Maybe this image show examples for local women. You can see specialty and absolutely unique Gliniani captures. Maybe did you have something from this template in your flat? But what is our analytical work? As I said, we study absolutely 3 very strong position. We connection, of course, economic basis, because the students study introduction in economy. We connect in this field economic security, but not absolute economic, about social economic. And of course, we made absolutely interdisciplinary team, because in our team was some student from who study art management, because how we can say about heritage foundation without the specialist. And maybe I could see what we do. We have a great visit in Gliniani, but this not only culture visible. It was about very many interview with Gliniani team. The student works in 6 teams who create a new position and new coefficient and new system of social economic security, such as financial, economic, reputation,
digitalization, investment, and part of security for the Gliniani, and what we do in the finish. We do so biggest document which the team of Gliniani team use for the development, for the protect not only basic rights, but for the create absolutely strongly social, economic, local security. And before I say thank you, I would like to show something from you. And inside this small bags, this is Gliniani style. I'm preparing some surprise for you. And I want to it's a gift for you. Could you get? And that these cards will remind you about this conference, about Gliniani, and about service learning. This is lifestyle for education, and especially in our very difficult time. Thank you so much, and I would like to invite Dr. Mariia and Dr. Olesya to join us in answer your question.
Thank you so much, dear colleagues. Would you like to add something, or we are waiting for questions?
Maybe I will summarize a little from my side. First of all, thank you very much to Dr. Alexandra Lashenko, to UKU, to Great University for such occasion, because I would like to say that my dream was to be not only theoretical scientist, but also to do something practical, to make our economy great again. And we tried to do it, created this company. But after such collaboration, fantastic collaboration it was, really that students help us to realize a lot of, from one side, very simple, very maybe primitive things, but we didn't realize it before. And in such creative minds, in such innovative minds of our students that participated in this project, really they help us to develop our company. And just now we use their offers, their propositions, and I hope that our company will stay stronger. Our society, Gliniani society, will not only famous, but really will strong in social economic meaning. That's why I thank you very much for such occasion, and really you are great, and we invite you with new teams, with new ideas, and we will be really happy to collaborate. Thank you very much.
And also from my side, I also want to thank UKU and Alexandra Lashenko for the great idea to collaborate not only the Center of Carpet Weaving, but also universities, because we represent 3 universities. And this collaboration between students also was great, because it was really interdisciplinary studying and together brainstorming of students. So common brainstorming really showed them different kind of the problems, and what also was very, very important, that they studied also not their business, but also the resources which have the community, and this complex thinking discover them real direction of opportunities of development. So it is really great project. And also which was very, very important, that the integration of museum, integration of the people who produce carpets, integration of university and local authority. So really it's very great case of the studying and developing of the skills of the students. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And
dear
on
colleagues,
the-
I promise you to have some time for questions, but I will give you more. You will have all the lunch break to pay questions, to
And
put
my-
questions to all your
only-
colleagues. I think you are not offended of this, and thank you so much.
Only one sentence. This is student wrote without my question. I don't ask it they about it, and if you keep touch on the Lithuanian style, you can do it right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank all the speakers. You know, I know that Andy Furko will be also another speaker, and in one of his publications he wrote that institutionalization take from 8 to 10 years, moving from one state to another. But dear colleagues, thanks to your commitment and your incredible inspiration, I think we will compress, and probably he will need to rewrite a paper. Thank you so much for everybody, and let us continue our discussion in more informal way.